All right, guys. Well, welcome to another episode. And I am really, really happy about this one. I'm very proud to have Jon Fuller, not only one of the top producers here in San Diego, but also my new best friend. I think we're going to be doing a lot of great things here at Cornerstone. And I like to always start on asking you about yourself.
Okay.
Who is
Yeah.
Jon? What motivates you? What brings you to this crazy business that we're in?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy is a good word for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me and bringing me on and finding value enough to bring me here and ask me some questions. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I started this business. I have a mentor that's I've had for a while. Since I've known him since I was about 5 years old, and I've always just ran big life decisions by him. And I was in the car business before this, and it was just super tough on the family and
Doing sales?
Yeah,
Okay.
doing sales. It's like every holiday weekend you're working, and my wife would be like, "Hey, I'm at the Disneyland with the kids. Hope your day's going well." And I'm working on a car or whatever, and so super tough, right? So it just wasn't good for the family life. I got a couple young kiddos, and been married for I don't even know a while now. She would know how long, but
Yeah, who's
14
counting it,
years maybe.
right?
Yeah, it just adds up. So talking to him, I was like, "Hey, look, I think I need to make a career shift. Like
Right.
this isn't manageable for me, but I still want to earn a decent living and whatnot." So he's like, "Hey, you need to get into the mortgage space, right? You have sales background, people background. Like this is something that I think you'd excel in." And so I took his advice and got licensed, in a couple of months. Passed the test and all that. I don't know how, but but yeah.
I don't know how I passed mine either. So, when I started, there wasn't any testing, so we all got hit of it, and it was
Yeah, anybody could do loans.
yeah.
Yeah. So so past that and then started doing loans and just absolutely fell in love with it. Like I think I've truly found my, my niche, and look up to you a ton in the space. Like
Thank you.
you've done a lot. What you're doing, the accounts you've had, how many people respect you in this business is it's awesome. So
Thank you. I
cool.
appreciate it. Well, listen, I mean, we have to mention this because I think it's really important because a lot of people that are starting in the business, they think, how can I get into this competitive business? And you've only been doing it for like what, 4 or 5 years? And
Yeah.
you already hit 150 million one time in production. I mean, we have to tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I guess in my career, like I think that everybody has this moment in time, and it's like your defining moment and your
Right.
switch, right? And
Yes.
it's like for me, I had a definitive switch, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go to a commission only job. I got my son, I have a young daughter. I was building a house at the time. I just quit my job. I didn't have anything lined up. Had little savings that I had, and I was like, okay, this is fight or flight. Like this
Did
is
you have
this
kids
is sink or
when you
swim.
did that?
I did,
Oh,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So got to the point where I was, again, and it took me 2-3 months to get, my license. And back then, I think it was 2020, right? So
Right.
COVID, it was really tough to get in for an appointment for your license test, and it was difficult. So I got to the point where we were running, pretty thin on finances, and to the I called my mother and I'm like, "Hey, my son's birthday's coming up, and like I can't afford to get him a gift. Like, can you get him something?" So
Okay.
I was at that spot in my life, and I was like, "All right, let's put my eggs in this basket." And I decided to just hit the ground running, and I worked every single day, 7 days a week.
So
making
how do you
calls.
start building? Because I do like to talk about this because a lot of people, again, they
Mhm.
feel like there's no way that I'm ever going to make it. And even loan officers that have been around for a while, they're
Mhm.
like struggling for business. So how do you that came from zero, not knowing anybody in this industry? How do you start establishing those relationships?
Yeah, so I knew one person in the industry,
Okay.
and I knew a realtor. He was one of my best friends or whatnot, and so I decided that the business I wanted to adapt in the lending space was relationship based and realtor based
Right.
business. Like that to me was what I wanted to do. So I talked to him, and every open house he had, I went to.
Okay.
I passed out flyers. I door knocked for him.
There you go.
I everyone in his office, I went to the office and just sat there. Like I didn't know anything about loans or anything. I just sat there and tried to help answer questions. Or it's like, oh, your client's moving? Okay, I have a truck. Like, let's move them. So
Nice.
I
Okay.
moved their client for them. I didn't even do the loan. I was moving. I just did whatever I could. And it was, serve before you sell, right? That was the motto. And it's,
So you were showing up
I
like
was showing
every
up
day.
every single
There
day.
you go. And that's the difference right there that a lot of people don't realize that, you know what? And I could tell you that myself too. It's like, it's not who's the best. It's about, I think, what's the one that said that? But it's kind of cliche, but it's true. You
Mm-hmm.
have to show up, and it's really about the consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was very consistent in all aspects of my business. So I laid out like things I wanted to do on Monday, on Tuesday, every day of the week. I had something I wanted to do. And, I built this database of realtors and started doing more open houses. And I'd do one on Thursday, two on Friday, two on Saturday, two on Sunday, and eventually I just started to build up this network of realtors and this book of clients. And so it took me 3 or 4 months to get my first deal.
Right.
I got my first deal. I remember
3 or 4
it,
months. So you did stick it. You stuck it around.
yeah, and it was scary, right?
Yeah.
And then hit that first deal, and then I was able to. She referred me someone else from her family, and then some of the people I'd been talking to over those 3 or 4 months
Right.
started to hit, and then just kind of started to grow, and then met more agents and whatnot. And I have some really incredible referral partners that I've made, and so I went from having one agent to now having over 100 that I work with,
Wow.
and that's been like the biggest thing, and trying to give back to those agents and offer good service, obviously, for the clients. I take calls at military guy, he's in Kuwait, and we're having a call at 2 a.m. and a Zoom, and it's like,
Right.
Okay, let's do that. Or let's get up at 4 a.m. and talk to a client that's in Maine. Or I didn't care. I just wanted.
You know what?
to
That's funny because that's even for me. Even on the weekends, with all my builder accounts. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm watching my show and I have my laptop next to me because I know that's when they're working.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that a lot of people don't want to really put their 100%. They just
Mhm.
they just want to do the minimum possible or just show up 9 to 5. And this is definitely not a
Yeah.
9 to 5 gig, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, but it did give me the flexibility to be able to do it anywhere.
Exactly.
So wife's like, hey, look, I want to take a vacation. We haven't taken one in a couple of years. Okay, cool. Let's go to Hawaii. They have good Wi-Fi, So I would work the chunk of the day, spend my 6, 7, 8 hours there, and then afterward, it's like, all right, we'll shut this down for a little
this
bit and
down
spend
and
some
then
time with the kiddos, and try to balance that relationship and still be able to, service the clients and the agents, and it's been a fun balancing act, but it's something I think I've done an
Yeah,
okay
you
job
have to
at.
finding the balance. It's a little tough, but let me ask you. I want to change it a little bit to Cornerstone because obviously I've been here 5 years. It's actually going on my 6th. And time flies, and then I know why I'm here. Like I always say, I'm a believer of a lot of things on Cornerstone. I believe in the culture. I believe in where we're going and the vision. When I started here, we were only like 50 LOs.
Mhm.
So for you, your level, everybody must be flagging like, okay, come here, come work for us. I'm sure you probably got 1,000 recruiter calls.
Mhm.
So why here out of all the places that you could have gone?
Yeah, good question. So, I guess first of all, I'm super stoked I'm here. I'm so glad I made that decision
Yes.
to come here or whatnot. But I was at my previous company for 5 years, and it just got to the point where I was ready for a little bit more growth and a little bit of change, and so I was actually looking into starting my own bank, and that was just a
Okay.
goal that I had. My mentor has started and sold 3 really big banks, and so he's like, "Hey, look, you need to start your own bank." And when you start a bank, it takes time,
Yes.
and you can start with conventional to get your FHA VA delegation. You have to do it for 8 years, so it was a really long play. And I sat down with with Sean, our owner, our president, and begrudgingly, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're every bank. I get 20 calls a day. Like, yeah, let me go work for another bank.
Right.
Right. And a mutual friend's like, you need to meet with this guy. And so I sat down, I sat down with him and went over kind of my goals or whatnot. And he's like, cool, let's do that here. He's like, don't do don't do your 8 years. Why do that? Why not just come here
Exactly.
and you use my licensing and start your own bank and sell loans back to me and we'll just make this thing happen. If that's your goal, like I want you to succeed at your goal. And I was like, what kind of a lie is this?
Right. Yeah, I would have thought the same.
Who would say that in their right
Sure.
mind? Like, you want me to be a competitor and then eventually branch off once I have my, experience. And he's like, dude, do that if that's your goal. And I was like, holy cow, this is the most,
Was that your defining moment? Was that because I know of course I know the trajectory because I was kind of around for the whole time that you were trying to come here.
yeah.
And what I mean, was that the defining moment when Sean was like open-minded enough to tell you, you know what, you don't need to do that, you could do it here, or what was it?
Yeah, good question. So it was twofold. So I sat down with him, and then I sat down with him and my mentor, and we had a big meeting about kind of that and what that would look like. And then it was also I had a deal I couldn't do at my current bank.
Okay.
There was a deal, and I thought that we could do any loan on the planet, right? And this place really can do any
Yeah.
loan on the planet,
Exactly.
So I sent him a deal, and I was like, look, I got this client. He only wants to close conventional. The house is in shambles, and there's no way this deal will get done. He's like, I'll do it. I can do the deal. I have an outlet for it. And I was like, there's no way.
Right.
And I'm like, if you do this deal, I'll come over. And 2 weeks later,
You don't have to tell him that twice for sure.
2 weeks later, deal's done.
Wow.
Funded it in like 12 days. Yeah.
You know,
Crazy.
the funny thing about that, I remember, I think it was the second year that I was in, something happened, and then Sean called me and he's like, how many loans did you get denied last year? And then I just paused and I was like, none. You're right. Like I had no, like literally, in the 5 years that I've been here, I think if I had two, it's because something weird happened that the borrower lied, or it's something that we had
Yeah.
like zero control
Lost
over.
your job,
But you're
escrow, or
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a huge game
Yeah.
changer.
Yeah, it was crazy. So he did that deal, and then my mentor called me a couple days after a meeting, and he's like, "Hey, look, you are a fool if you don't go to
Really,
Cornerstone." He's like, "What he's doing, what
yeah,
he's willing to do, what he's willing to teach you, that knowledge is going to be insane." And I, not everybody wants to, learn the secondary markets and learn
right.
the behind the scenes of the bank, and I'm a weird one that does. And he's like,
Me
"Cool,
too.
I'll teach it to you," which
Right.
no one is that transparent at
Uh,
all, and he's just a special human. So,
Exactly.
so yeah,
That's the
those,
thing, a lot of the places I feel like I was at other big companies. I mean, we're not going to mention
Mhm.
names, but they're
yeah,
pretty large. And when it comes to the upper management presidency and stuff like that, I mean, they're there, but they're unreachable. I mean, you're right. They're never going to tell you. Like I just went with you to the secondary conference, and to be honest with you, it was not only an honor, it was amazing. That we are included in something like that
Mhm.
just to help make a better change for Cornerstone, right?
yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Hey, your goal is to learn this. Cool, come with me to these meetings." And the first one I ever went to was I think 2 years ago, or a year ago, year and a half ago, whatever. And I sat there and I was just lost. I didn't know anything. I'm like, why am I here?
Right.
And yeah, then he just coached me up and taught me a ton. And he allows you to grow and succeed in whatever part of this business you want to.
Exactly.
So it's
It's
cool.
funny because I always say, it is the first time that I don't feel like my wings are clipped. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I could just do. I mean, whatever I tell him that it's like a great idea, he's like, "Yeah, I'll support you on that." I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane, right?
Yeah. And we're a big company.
Yeah,
Like we are we're a really big company as far as IMBs go. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
we're the
I
fastest
think we have
growing
what, like
company.
900 or 1,000 employees now in total, like something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll be at 1,000 LOs by the middle of
Oh,
next year. So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is cool, and to be able to, have that relationship with the owner that everybody has.
Everybody.
My last company was a big company. They did a teeny bit more volume than we do, but I never got a single call from the owner. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know what my
Exactly.
goals were. none of that stuff. So
So, talking about that, I want to go into culture a little bit, which is another cliche word. I know culture, everybody's like the culture, the culture, the culture.
yeah.
But, honestly, for me, I never felt so at home at a place,
Hmm.
And, obviously that comes from the top because everybody here at corporate is just, when I come here, I just feel like I'm amongst friends instead of people that I truly work for. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. I think culture is important, and biasly say we have the best culture
I think so.
that exists. There's a reason that I was consistently doing 40 to $50 million a year for 4 or 5 years in a row. I was consistently there. The first year I moved to Cornerstone is the first year I hit $100 million.
Wow.
I doubled my production by coming here.
Wow.
And it wasn't because, you know, yes, there's more programs, and yes, maybe I had to turn down 5 deals before, and that's an extra 5 deals, but it's because of the culture,
Yes.
the leadership, and the knowledge that I gained. Everybody's here, you're really enjoying work, having fun. They make you want to work. They push you, and there's just so much growth from culture. And my vision changed from, all right, hey, I want to start my own bank, to holy cow, how can I build this bank up and
Right.
make it grow and provide the
Exactly.
best experience for everybody here, because I love this bank and Sean's vision and everybody that works here. I
And don't
couldn't
you feel
match.
like, even though we keep growing, like nothing really changes, like on the basic line of it, like people are, it's not like we're getting, because I've seen a lot of companies like grow and then completely change to another like very robotic, corporate culture, that we don't
Yeah,
have here.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It hasn't. No matter how big we get, Sean won't.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I won't let that happen. You won't let that happen. I mean, you got to have fun in what we do. Our job's pretty stressful, and being able to have your friends and push your friends and get a call from the owner saying, "Hey, I beat you by $1 million last month.
Right.
What's going on? Step your game up,"
Exactly.
and being able to share ideas with someone, like yourself and,
Yeah.
like Eric or like Sean. I mean, these guys that are doing, 10, $20 million a month in volume. I mean, that's huge. And being
Yeah.
able to say, all right, what's working for you? What's working for you? And I can call you or hop on a Zoom, and you'll tell me
Oh
exactly
yeah.
how you did to get to where you got.
100%.
And companies don't do that. They're like, this is my secret. This is how I earn my business. And it's like, when you grow and you win, like, oh my gosh. And I'm so excited about that. And that's how it should be. And that's how you are and how Sean is. And
So how do you feel about like okay, so now you hit 150 million, right?
Mhm.
Do you feel like you're just getting started? Like now that you have this structure here?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it was easy,
Yeah.
yeah, with the structure we have here and how he's like, "Hey, yeah, get some support from this person, get some support from this person. Hey, you want to go get a builder account? Great. Make some calls, get an appointment, and I'll go close it for you. I'll fly to Iowa next week if you want, and
Right.
let's get a builder on the phone. Let's land the contract." And
And that is the big difference. I do want to share a little story. Like there was a loan officer of mine, one time that called me to do a presentation.
yeah,
I told her I was busy that day. She called Sean, and Sean jumped on the call to do a realtor presentation with I mean, it was just the craziest thing. I
yeah,
mean, where else do you? It's just so insane that
yeah,
you go. And that's the thing. That's what I want people to realize when they hear this. That this is definitely not the regular, IMB of like, this is the way we do things and this is our process or whatever. Everybody that comes here, they can build their business the way they want, obviously, and which is true. What works here doesn't work in South Florida,
mhm,
or it doesn't work in Ohio. It doesn't work, other places.
yeah,
So you have
yeah,
to have that open minded of like, okay, let me let the leaders that know in that particular market do it the way that they know, right?
mhm, yeah. Yeah, you're a master of your market, right? And they're all different clientele, different types of transactions, different volume of transactions, and so yeah, being able to lean on somebody in those markets and get wisdom from them is
Yep.
is awesome. And it's the only company I've seen where people are wanting you to do better than them, and
Exactly.
super. It's yeah, it's really cool.
It's true because I think everybody looks at Sean's board and it's like, I can't wait to beat you.
Dude, I almost had him last month or the month before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one day you or I are gonna get him, and
Oh, we are.
we can't let him live it
No,
down
no,
yet.
no, we cannot.
Yeah,
It's like
we're gonna tattoo that number.
exactly.
Tattoo the date. Yeah, it's good.
Exactly. So, just to finish off, what do you see your future? What do you see, well, yourself and Cornerstone, because now you're part you're not just an individual person. I mean, you were welcome with open arms, and now you're part of like the explosion that we're really going
Mhm.
through right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I love the company. I love the direction. I love where we're headed. And I mean, my daily goal, yes, I want to, be able to achieve the volume and provide for my family still. That's always the goal.
Of course.
And I want to be able to, give back to my partners or realtor partners and grow their businesses and whatnot. But yeah, I also really want Cornerstone to grow. And
Yes.
I constantly am looking for different ways to help out, whether it's, hey, I have 2 Zooms next week with companies that no one knows about, looking
Nice.
into different AI companies that may benefit Cornerstone.
See?
I'm vetting different people, and we're gonna help start our own, appraisal management company. And I
Wow.
built logos for
Which
that.
something we're having, by the way. That's amazing. I mean, I really love that part.
Yeah. I built logos for that last night, and just looking for ways to make sure that we are ahead of the competition
Yes.
in every aspect. And being able to give, our employees that we have here, all the tools they need to succeed. So
Last question, and we'll close it.
yeah.
What do you tell the managers that are looking at this podcast and they're scared? Not scared, but they're not happy. They know they need to change. They don't want to change because they have to drag their whole team with them. What do you tell those managers?
It's gonna be the best decision that you've ever made. So I was in your shoes, right? I tell those managers, hey, look, I was in your shoes. Hop on a 15-minute Zoom call with Manuel, with me, with Sean. Sean would be a great one to talk to, and understand the culture, understand the goal. And you're going to leave that call thinking this was absolutely all a lie. This is all BS.
Yeah.
And there's no way this is possible. There's no way this is true. There's
Right.
no way your pricing's better than brokers. There's no way you guys do this
There you
much
go.
volume, and there's no way that it's not going to seem real.
Right.
But I promise you that it is real. And yeah, give it a shot for yourself, because you will not be disappointed. It's the best decision that I've made in my career.
Yeah, it's definitely the best decision that I made, and I said it in the last podcast. I made a lot of money at the beginning of my career, but this is definitely the most money that I've ever made, and I don't think it would be anywhere else, honestly.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you
Of
for your
course.
time. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I always like to, bring somebody like you, that is a real top producer, is really into it, and just to share their story. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.